Good morning. I'd like to share a thought from my devotional this morning today that meant a lot to me. It talked about how the Lord precedes us, how He goes before us. And the verse they used is in Mark 14:28, where Jesus says, "But after I've been raised, I will go before you to Galilee." And they talk about how God never sends us into a situation alone, just like He went before and behind the Israelites with a cloud and the pillar of fire. And He knows what we need for a pilgrimage. It talks about that in Deuteronomy 31:8. And Psalm 139, 7 through 12, God talks about how He hems us in or closes us in behind and before. Isaiah talks about Him being our front and rear guard. So we never have to worry that God's just sending us into a situation unprepared. He's always gone before us. He doesn't just send us on the front lines with no cover. He's always there. So on a very personal application, I've been thinking, where am I walking on a daily basis for the Lord, and what am I doing with my time for the Lord? Would I spend my time differently if I knew I had 24 hours left to live for the Lord? Would I spend that differently if I knew there was just 24 hours than if I thought there was, 200 years till the Lord came back and I'd live a long and healthy life and an easy breezy life? And, would I handle myself differently? Because the answer should be no. It should be no. We would live the same whether we had 24 hours for Him or an entire lifetime for Him. Whether we thought that there would be tribulation tomorrow or if we thought we would never have tribulation. We should live the same. But in reality, no, I wouldn't quite live the same. There'd be a lot that I would still do, but there's a lot that I wouldn't. So I needed to think what I would change. And I had a conversation with a dear friend in the Lord the other day, and she talked about you don't own your possessions. Your possessions often own you. And I've been thinking about that. We have a lot of possessions by a third world standard. Everybody in the developed countries has a lot compared to a third world standard. Compared to the way a lot of Americans live, a lot of Europeans live, not so much. There's 4 of us in about 1,000 square feet, and we're happy here. We're thrilled. We have all we need. We're not lacking. But there's not an overabundance. It's not a big glorious house and cars and boats and no. And nor do I want it. That said, one of the things that I was convicted of is something that sneaks out of control on me, which is my time on the computer. It's not TV. It used to be how TV stole people's time, and I rarely watch TV, maybe an hour a week. And I think a lot of my brothers and sisters are about the same, on the TV. But the computer does steal time away from our family, away from our children, our spouses, things that we could be doing for the Lord. It's easy to be about the Lord's, but not in the Lord on the computer. Well, let's learn about this thing or that thing and learn, when there's nothing wrong with learning for the Lord, but it can be a problem when it takes away from that one-on-one time that we have with Him. So, I have decided my computer is not going to own my time. Doesn't mean I'm going to be off it, but it does mean that it will work for me and I won't work for it, which is the way that I try to be anyway. But like I said, it kind of sneaks in there, and all of a sudden a little bit more time, and the next month there's a little bit more time, and so I am just limiting myself to certain times of the day right now, and just being really strict with it till I can get back in and giving that to God to see what He will do with it. But anyway, know that the Lord has gone before you. He's before you and behind you. He will not send you into a situation unprepared. And let's look at where we're walking for the Lord. God bless you all.